Before you head out in the water, these are some common checks that you should be doing. Before we set off, if you're experiencing any starting problems with engines, we can check the battery voltage. Using a digital multimeter, you should be getting a reading between 12 to 14 volts. Right, first thing you want to do is check you've got plenty of fuel for your trip, for your journey, so plan well in advance for that. Second of all, you want to check for contaminants in the fuel. There's a couple of ways you can do that. Simply unscrew the cap, have a look inside the tank, or possibly take a fuel sample if it's possible. So as we're checking for any leaks or cracks in the fuel line, we want to check that our breather valve on the fuel tank opens and closes. This will need to be in the open position when the engine is running. Next we're going to discuss the oil. Now with a 2-stroke engine, the oil will need to be mixed into the tank. With a 4-stroke engine, the oil is already in the engine. There's 2 ratios for this, 50 to 1 or 100 to 1. With the 2-stroke engine, every time you add fuel to your tank, you'll need to add the correct ratio of oil. So checking the oil in the 4-stroke engine. There's a dipstick on the engine, an awful lot like your car. Simply remove it, wipe it clean, pop it back in, remove it, for the oil to be displayed on the dipstick. While you've got the cover off the engine, it's worthwhile checking your electrical connections, make sure they're in all tight, none of the wires are bared, and checking the spark plug caps are on nice and tight. After we've done them checks, we've tilted the engine up. We're in this position for trailing and launching purposes. I'm now ready to put the boat in the water. Even though we've done all our checks, things can still possibly go wrong. It's good to plan in advance with a forecast, have a mobile phone with you, or a VHF radio on board. So we're in the water now, and the starting procedure for the engine. To begin with, we would prime up the fuel system using the priming bulb in the fuel line. You want to keep priming this bulb until you feel it harden up. It's an indication that the fuel system is primed and we're ready to go now. So once we've got it primed up, we want to check inside the engine and the internal fuel lines, make sure there's no leaks coming from them or from the filters. Some outboards will have a lanyard system on them. This needs to be in place in order for the engine to start. Once you connect it into place, we're then ready to start the engine. It's always good practice to connect this to you. If for any reason you have to fall out the boat, this will cut the engine out for it. Once the outboard started, you want to check that the water coolant jet is flowing strong. Now we're confident in the checks that we've done. The outboards are running well. We've got an auxiliary outboard with us. Only then are we now ready to untie from the pontoon and set off. If something goes wrong, like the outboard breaking down, the first thing you can do is put an anchor down. This will give you a fixed point if you need to be rescued, but it will also give you time to rectify the problem. A few checks you can do is check for the lanyard, make sure it's not popped out and pulled out accidentally. Check your battery connections, make sure they're tight. Check that you've not ran out of fuel. Prime up the fuel system, check for leaks again, on the line and inside the engine. Check the spark plug caps haven't come off. If all else fails, it's time to start up the auxiliary outboard. If you don't have an auxiliary outboard, it may be time to call for help.